On screen, the scene changed again, came to a dark place. The sky is constantly raining finely, and strange-shaped buildings stand everywhere on the streets. People who are familiar with it can guess where it is at a glance. Rain Shinobi Village. At this time, in the vast rain, a huge base minister. A figure wearing a gas mask appeared. It is the demigod of Rain Shinobi Village, Hanzo of the Salamander. He was sitting on a chair full of majesty. A Rain Shinobi ninja in a white diving suit appears instantly. Lord Hanzo, there is an enemy situation in the northeast of the village. A team of less than 10 people killed our team of hundreds of people. No one was left alive. Hanzo of the Salamander stared. What? He stood up abruptly, and the figure of the day shrouded the Rain Shinobi ninja. The Rain Shinobi ninja trembled under the pressure. Who are they? Who can kill hundreds of people without letting a single one go? Hanzo of the Salamander growled. Rain Shinobi said tremblingly. Among them, Sanagakure Chio's son and daughter-in-law, and... He paused, as if he didn't know how to explain what he saw. People from Sanagakure, but it's impossible to do this with these two people. Hanzo of the Salamander narrowed his eyes dangerously, and said in a very gloomy voice. Say, who else is there? Also, Konoha's ninja. Rain Shinobi's voice trembled. Yes, there are Konoha's White Fang, and the ninjas of the Japanese, Hyuga, and Uchiha clans. Their eyes are too obvious, and they are brave and good at fighting. It seems that they are not afraid of death. What? Now Hanzo of the Salamander is really shocked. Right now, Sanagakure and Konoha are fighting inseparably, and fierce conflicts broke out several times. 163. How come to his side, but the two sides are united? This is too weird. This is impossible. Hanzo of the Salamander said decisively. I want to confirm it myself. How could two hostile ninja villages suddenly join forces? Then, without waiting for Rain Shinobi to respond, he rushed out directly. However, when he arrived at the battlefield, he immediately saw San Shinobi's puppeteer couple, and Konoha's White Fang. Now, Hanzo of the Salamander has to admit that Sanagakure and Konoha village are really connected. And the target to deal with is him, Hanzo of the Salamander. HMPH. What a big battle. I didn't expect Konoha to do such a dirty trick. Hanzo of the Salamander snorted coldly, looked at the leader White Fang and said. White Fang flicked the blade in his hand, and the blood on it flew handsomely, and he held it in his hand. He stared at Hanzo of the Salamander blankly, and said in an almost calm tone. Hanzo of the Salamander, nothing is impossible in this world. Hanzo of the Salamander frowned slightly. He always felt that there was something in White Fang's words. Could it be that you rebelled? No. Even if you rebelled, it is impossible for the Uchiha and Hyuga clan to rebel. Especially the Hyuga family. That pervert ninja cruelly gave the branch house people under the caged bird, unless these people who defected with you belong to the clan. Hanzo of the Salamander set his sights on the puppeteer couple. Could it be you? But as the son and daughter-in-law of Sanagakure Chio, you have absolutely no reason to betray Sanagakure. You two will appear together. What is going on? It's not right, it's so wrong. There was something wrong about the whole thing. Let's think about this matter after you die. As he said coldly, the knife flashed in his hand, and he rushed to Hanzo of the Salamander in an instant. With the omnipotent White Fang sword technique, he severed the body of Hanzo of the Salamander with one blow. But, in the next instant, the severed Hanzo of the Salamander turned into water and fell to the ground. It is indeed a water body. As expected of Konoha's White Fang, the speed is really fast. Hanzo of the Salamander said, making seals quickly. Fire-style detonation flame formation. The ground under White Fang's feet suddenly glowed with white light. A deafening roar followed. HMPH, even Konoha's White Fang, with this move of mine, there is nothing left. Hanzo of the Salamander had already prepared an ambush at his feet. Then use the water body as bait. Only then can White Fang be wiped out in one fell swoop. Sudden. Hanzo of the Salamander frowned. Water instant technique. He disappeared instantly. At the same time, the unharmed White Fang appeared in his place. As long as Hanzo of the Salamander is one step slower, he will be cut off by White Fang's sharp knife. As expected of White Fang, Hanzo of the Salamander applauded. This incomparably fast body and saber technique escaped his killer move unexpectedly. Kill. Follow in the footsteps of Lord Hanzo. Kill them. Water-style water whip. The ranged shinobi ninjas rushed over in an instant. As soon as they moved, the Konoha shinobi followed suit. Although the ranged shinobi ninja occupies an absolute numerical advantage. But facing the ninjas of Hyuga and Uchiha, the two major ninja villages in Konoha, they can only retreat steadily. The gap in strength is too great. And at this time, the puppet master couple who had not acted until now finally took action. They manipulated the puppets to double team from left to right. Even Hanzo of the salamander dared not ignore the sharpness of the golem's sharp weapon. White Fang also exploded in an instant, rushing straight towards Hanzo of the salamander. Hateful. Hanzo of the salamander had no choice but to resort to the tricks for which he was famous. Summoning art Sanshou Fish Well Fu. A giant salamander emerged from beneath his feet. The puppet's attack fell on the huge body of the salamander without any response, and the toxin on it did not have a good effect. White Fang's knife cut a deep wound on the salamander's body, but it was not fatal, but it made the salamander even more violent. Seeing Hanzo of the salamander summoning the salamander, White Fang and the others were still doing well, but those ranged shinobi ninjas turned around and ran away, crying one by one. Run. If you get involved, you will die. Please, Master Fat Zhang. I don't want to die yet. It's over. The gas attack is coming. Quickly put on a gas mask. Gas masks are useless. Master Hanzo's Sanshou toxin can penetrate directly through the skin. There is no defense at all. A group of ranged shinobi ninjas run desperately. Hanzo of the salamander looked extremely indifferent. Although it was not a last resort, he didn't want to use this indiscriminate attack method. But if he continues to be besieged by these three people, he is afraid that his life will be in danger. So he had to. Jingfu, kill them. Jingfu opened his mouth wide, and a large amount of poisonous gas was ejected, quickly covering a range of hundreds of meters. The ranged shinobi ninjas who hadn't had time to run out fell to the ground one by one, clutching their necks, foaming at the mouth. Their eyes widened. They wanted to make a sound, but they couldn't say anything. They could only die in excruciating pain. However, faced with the poisonous gas head-on, White Fang and others did not react at all. What? Hanzo of the salamander's eyes widened in disbelief. How can this be? White Fang opened his mouth lightly. As I said, anything is possible. As he spoke, the knife flashed in White Fang's hand, and he cut a huge hole in the body of the salamander again, and at the same time released wind style to blow away the poisonous mist. Now, Sanjiao Yujingfu couldn't take it anymore, and turned into white smoke with a bang and went back to heal his wounds. Only Hanzo of the salamander was left to face the siege of White Fang and others. Damn it, there is no antidote to my poison. Even Sand Shinobi's puppet old woman can't cure my poison. And you didn't even act with the antidote. Why didn't my poison take effect? Sudden. Hanzo of the salamander looked at the extremely indifferent expressions of White Fang and others, and when he thought of them uniting with the Sand Shinobi ninja, he immediately thought of an impossible possibility in his mind. Wait. You are puppets. Yes, this is the only way to explain why you didn't respond to my poison. Because you are not human at all. He immediately turned his head and looked around. Where are the people who control you hiding? Wait. Why can't I see the chakra thread? Hanzo of the salamander sensed new doubts. Since it is a puppet, why is there no chakra silk to control it? After my refinement, there is no need for chakra silk for manipulation. An abrupt voice sounded, immediately attracting Hanzo of the salamander's attention. Who is it? Hanzo of the salamander turned his head abruptly, then his eyes widened in shock. A child. How can it be? Ache came out of the belly of a fat ninja with a cold expression on his face. Wait. You said you don't need the chakra thread to control it? That's impossible. Then how did they move? Hanzo of the salamander felt like his cognition had been destroyed for most of his life. Control puppet without chakra thread? He had never seen anything so outrageous. Not to mention that a child who was only 4 or 5 years old did such an incredible thing. It's very simple, just set it up in advance, and then use your mind to control it, it's very convenient. Snort. Hanzo of the salamander came back to his senses, snorted and looked at Ache with an extremely cold gaze. Anyway, if you kill you, these puppets won't pose any threat at all. As a puppet master, you should hide yourself instead. Ache said calmly. Since I dare to come out, it means that I will not die. Whoosh whoosh, a large number of piercing sounds came, and then Sand Shinobi ninjas and Konoha Shinobi ninjas appeared one by one with no expression on their faces, and surrounded Hanzo of the Salamander. This, all are your puppets. Cold sweat broke out on Hanzo of the Salamander's brow. This amount is really too much. How many puppets can you control? Ache said lightly. It's not very good now, I can only control about 200. 200. Ha 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 ha. What a crazy brat, I lost. Hearing this answer, Hanzo of the Salamander couldn't help laughing. The laughter was full of relief. He knew that he was defeated, completely defeated. With the poison gas attack ineffective, he simply couldn't break through the behavior that threatened Ache. As for him surrounded by groups, he has only one end. After I die, will you make me a puppet? Just like them. Hanzo of the Salamander fearfully he glanced at the puppet army next to him. It is so lifeless, mechanical, single. Ache smiled slightly, a look of anticipation flashed in his eyes. Don't worry, you are special, I will personally make you into a perfect puppet. The screen went black, ready to transition. The crowd in the live broadcast room is boiling. Jiraiya. Hanzo of the Salamander lost. It was so hard when we beat him. Konkuro. Can you control puppets without chakra thread? Teacher Ache, I want to learn. Dried persimmon ghost shark. And you can control more than 200 puppets. I remember you can control 100 puppets at the same time, right? Scorpion. Deidara. Ha ha ha, I just said Master Ache is the strongest. Anything in the hands of Master Ache will become stronger. Orochimaru. You missed the point. Ache said, Hanzo of the Salamander he will do it himself, personally. Tsunade. In other words, the previous guess is correct. The puppets made by Ache also have the method of making puppets. Ino. What exactly is Ache going to do? He has already made so many puppets, do he still want to continue doing it? Hanzo of the Salamander. It seems that I will also be made into a puppet? Luo Sha. He said he wanted to make more puppets, and he wanted to control more puppets. Could it be his purpose? Uchiha Madara. Humph, my brother Ache's ideal is naturally to make the ninja world peaceful. Senju Hashirama. Madara, I think this matter is a bit strange, Ache's state is obviously not right. Senju Tobarama. If such puppets appear in large numbers, they will only make people suspect each other, which is not conducive to peace at all. Conan. I'm curious now, what is Ache's final purpose? Is it to make the whole ninja world? Chio. He already can't stop. In the live broadcast room, the audience was shocked by Ache's innovation of puppetry. At the same time, there is constant speculation about Ache's ultimate purpose. They could feel that Ache would definitely not let it go. Chio's eyes were extremely serious. As a puppet master, Chio has seen too many puppet masters. But the talent of Ache in the video is still beyond her imagination. And the greed shown by Ache made her shudder. She guessed what Ache wanted to do, but it was because she guessed that it made her feel creepy. Because Ache's ideal is too contrary to people's hearts. No one can stop him. Chio sighed. The screen changed. It is still in the country of rain, but it is another battlefield. Both sides of the battle have changed. Hanzo of the Salamander, against Konoha Sannin. This battle, if it follows the original track, is Konoha Sannin's famous battle. At this time, the two sides have already experienced a battle. Hanzo of the Salamander had several wounds on his body, but Konoha Sannin was panting one by one, and had many wounds on his body. Comparing the two sides, it is clear at a glance. Damn. Why is this guy so strong? Jiraiya spoke out of breath. Orochimaru was also panting from the side. It's the demigod of Rain Shinobi village after all. If it wasn't for him, the kingdom of Rain would have been destroyed long ago. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade. Fortunately, there is Tsunade, otherwise we wouldn't even be able to survive his poisonous gas. Tsunade was also very tired at this time. Is his physical strength unlimited? After fighting for so long, I didn't even catch my breath. Jiraiya also looked puzzled. And I didn't respond at all when I was injured, as if I didn't feel pain. Is his mental will so tough? Completely indifferent to pain. Orochimaru frowned slightly, feeling something was wrong. Could it be that he was born without pain? Although the possibility is extremely low, it is not impossible. However, I always feel that love is not so simple. Orochimaru kept observing and thinking. Just in time, Hanzo of the Salamander was standing on top of the summoning beast Salamander, looking down at the three of them. He was not in a hurry to attack, as if he was a cat playing with a mouse, full of vicious humor. Sudden. Orochimaru's face changed, thinking of a certain possibility. No. It is absolutely impossible for a living person to do this. Even if he doesn't feel pain, he will feel tired. Also, how much blood flowed out of his wound at all? He is not a living person at all. He is a dead person. As soon as these words came out, the faces of Jiraiya and Tsunade suddenly changed. How can it be? Jiraiya blurted out. How can a dead person move? Tsunade immediately thought of what happened in the Land of Winds before. Of course it is possible. Have you forgotten what the teacher said? The puppet master couple who came back from the dead. Jiraiya finally understood. Have you finally found out? Hanzo of the Salamander opened his mouth slowly, reached out and took off the gas mask. As a puppet, Hanzo of the Salamander no longer needs this thing to block the poisonous gas. Don't worry, it won't take long for you to become like me. The three of Jiraiya's expressions immediately turned cold. Become like Hanzo of the Salamander? Isn't that about dying? They don't want to die. I will not die here. Jiraiya roared and rushed over frantically. Wait, Jiraiya. Orochimaru stretched out his hand, but Jiraiya, who was hot-blooded, was no longer something he could stop. HMPH, overreaching. Hanzo of the Salamander snorted coldly. The battle started again. But facing the untiring and stronger Hanzo of the Salamander, the three of Jiraiya have no chance of winning at all. Soon, Jiraiya and Orochimaru fell to the side, their eyes staring unwillingly, and they were out of breath. 2 people were killed. Only Tsunade was left. Although he was covered in injuries, he still had a breath. Who exactly are you? Who is controlling you? Tsunade's eyes were full of anger. Hanzo of the Salamander did not answer. And Ache, who has been hiding in the dark, appeared silently and came to Hanzo of the Salamander. Wait. It's you. But you. How could it be? Tsunade was shocked by Ache's age, but looking at Hanzo of the Salamander's unresponsive situation, the most unlikely scenario is the only possibility now. You. Who are you? Why did you do this? Tsunade yelled angrily. What do you think of human life? Ache didn't pay attention to Tsunade's anger, but walked slowly in front of her, looking at Tsunade with a slightly pitiful look, as if he was looking at a piece of incomplete artwork. Human life. Human life is just a piece of meat driven by desire, meaningless. It's as if the current wars arise because of people's desires. Compared with people, puppets are much better. Puppets will not grow old, will not die, will not generate hatred because of desire, and will not resist because of injustice. Only a world full of puppets can have real peace. Ache stretched out his hand, stroked Hanzo of the Salamander's cheek intoxicatedly, and said, Don't you think the puppet is beautiful? Ah. Tsunade yelled in dismay. You madman. How beautiful is this? Your senses have been completely distorted. You play with the dead so recklessly, you will be punished sooner or later. Ache didn't care, and looked at Tsunade with admiration. Then his caressing fingers also touched her chin. Don't worry. I won't leave wounds on your body. I will make you the most beautiful puppet in my hands. Swish. A thin needle stabbed mercilessly into Tsunade's neck. The screen suddenly went black. Seeing this scene, the audience in the live broadcast room fell silent, and everyone was in an uproar. A lively discussion ensued. Naruto. I'm going. Even Pervy Sage is dead. Little Sakura. Have all the Sanins been killed? This is too scary. Onoki. Now that Ache has Sanin's puppets in his hands, his strength will only become stronger and stronger. Haitu. Ache's husband is becoming more and more pervert. What if I like it more? Hidan. Brain-damaged woman, hurry up and get rid of it. Deidara. Master Ache is invincible. Luo Sha. Is it possible that I, Sanagakure, will unify the ninja world one day? Chio. With this method, do you think it can still be called the unified ninja world? Gaara. What a horrible idea. Does he want to make everyone into puppets? Tamari. Is this also Ache's idea of peace? This time is too biased. Second Mizukage. Not only is it biased, I also feel quite scary. It seems that turning everyone into puppets has never been imagined in the ninja world. Darui. Which normal person would think about such a thing? Kakuzu. Even a lunatic can't think of such a horrible thing. This is too exaggerated. Uchiha Madara. It just coincides with my thoughts, he is indeed my good brother. Senju Hashirama. Wait Madara, isn't your practice proven to be used by others? And isn't your good brother me? Sure enough, love will transfer? Senju Tobarama. Brother, don't be ashamed and conspicuous here. Little Sakura. Huh? Could it be that Master First Hokage has some secret relationship with Uchiha Madara? Uzumaki Mito. Hashirama, do you want to explain to me? Uzumaki Kushina. Are you going to fight? I want to see rivers of blood. Namikaze Minato. Wait, Kushina, don't get so excited. On the border of the Land of Fire, in a tavern in a small town. Tsunade was drinking slightly drunk, and saw the picture of himself being killed by Aike. This made her slightly taken aback. Shizune next to him looked at it and couldn't help but said worriedly. Master Tsunade. All of this is just a video, not a real thing, don't worry. However, Tsunade was not worried at all, but said proudly. Did you hear Shizune? Aike said he was going to transform me into the most beautiful doll himself. Does this mean that Aike thinks I'm the most beautiful person in the world? Shizune's head was covered with black lines. Is this something you're so proud of? Tsunade puffed out his great chest and said proudly. Of course it's important. This represents my charm as a woman. It seems that I'm obsessed with that kind of little boy, ha ha ha, it's so cool. Shizune bowed her head helplessly, she really convinced her teacher. It obviously looks like such a scary thing. As a result, when it came to Tsunade, the focus of attention went to a weird place. Shizune sometimes doesn't understand Tsunade's brain circuit. Especially when Tsunade is a little drunk. Well, just when everyone was discussing in full swing. In the video, the screen turned and came to Sanagakure. Chiyo hurriedly found third Kazekage. He slapped his hand on the table with a slap, his expression extremely serious. Master Kazekage. Aike is completely out of control. His behavior must be stopped. Otherwise it will cause unimaginable consequences. Third Kazekage raised his head and said with a frown. What about Chiyo? Aike is your grandson, don't you understand him? Chiyo said righteously. It is precisely because he is my grandson that I cannot watch him continue to degenerate. Look how many people he has killed. As she spoke, she took pictures of the information she had collected about Aike making puppets on the desktop. Third Kazekage looked at it, then said. Isn't this great? Anyway, these people are ninjas from the enemy village, and they will definitely be able to exert unexpected miraculous effects on the battlefield. Isn't that the reality? Even Hanzo of the Salamander and Konoha's up-and-coming 3 became our side. And Aike's doing so can also minimize Sanagakure's casualties. Why stop it? Chiyo's eyes widened, as if she didn't expect Third Kazekage's attitude to be so calm. Can't you see the crisis hidden behind this? No one can stop Aike anymore. If you continue to let Aike go on like this, the ninja world will definitely collapse. He will never stop this behavior, Third Kazekage said indifferently. How can you be sure of such a thing? This is a time of war, and Aike just wants to help Sanagakure through this war. Since peace can be won in this way, why not do it? Chiyo frowned fiercely. Third Kazekage's attitude was completely different from what she had imagined. Just when she was thinking about how to continue persuading Third Kazekage, she heard Third Kazekage suddenly transfer the sign to her. On the contrary, you, Advisor Chiyo, didn't you also make your own body into a puppet? Since you can make your own body into a puppet, why not agree with Aike's method? Didn't you transform it because the body of the puppet is more convenient? Chiyo felt a little strange that the matter involved herself. The transformation of my own body is completely different from the transformation of those corpses by Aike. I just modified my body parts for the convenience of continuing to fight. But Aike's behavior is really weird. He turned dead people into puppets, but let these puppets act like living people, which is simply against ethics. Boom. Enough. Third Kazekage suddenly got angry, stood up abruptly and said condescendingly to the short Chiyo. That's the end of the matter. I don't want to hear that kind of talk anymore. Especially not in Aike's ear. He is now on the front line fighting for the peace of Sanagakure, and I will never let others chill his heart. If I hear similar words from you again, I will regard you as the enemy of the village. Chiyo opened her mouth in shock and looked at Third Kazekage in disbelief. Betray the village? Chiyo did not expect that Hayao Kazekage's attitude suddenly became so radical. Although she felt something was wrong in her heart, Chiyo really didn't dare to say more. After all, Third Kazekage is Kazekage after all. She is just a consultant. Well, if there is nothing else, you can leave. I still have a lot to do to deal with. Third Kazekage sat down with a look of willingness to leave. Chio opened her mouth, and finally walked out of Kazekage's office without saying anything. Boom. The screen plunged into darkness as Chio closed the door. The audience in the live broadcast room also became active at this time. Jiraiya. Third Kazekage's attitude is so strange, can't he see that Ake's spirit has gone wrong? Fourth Raikage. I may have noticed it, but I didn't care. After all, it's a time of war, and Sanagakure needs Ake's power. Hidan. That's right, Chio is outrageous. Ake obviously played a huge role, but she wanted to stab her grandson in the back. Isn't this damn the same as a traitor? Naruto. It's really outrageous, isn't Ake her grandson? And what Ake is doing is helping San Shinobi Village, why is she so opposed? Little Sakura. Stupid Naruto, that's because Chio saw that Ake was mentally abnormal, so she wanted to stop Ake. Namikaze Minato. Naruto, Chio is worried that Ake will go berserk and kill more and more people to make puppets, so he wants to stop him. Kakuzu. Chio may have her reasons for her thoughts, but under the circumstances at the time, her thoughts were still a bit unreasonable. Deidara 117. That's right, without Ake's power, Sanagakure will soon lose ground. Konkuro. Grandma Chio is also thinking about Ake. If this continues, Ake will definitely go astray. Onoki. Third Kazekage can't see the hidden danger. If he continues to let Ake go, the whole world will be destroyed by Ake. Senju Hashirama. That's right, Ake's behavior is completely out of control. Third Kazekage only cares about using Ake's power, sooner or later he will regret it. Uchiha Madara. Humph. A bunch of idiots who don't know anything about Ake's power. Senju Tobirama. What do you understand? Just show your sense of superiority here. Uchiha Madara. There is no need to talk to stupid people. Everyone in the live broadcast room was discussing in full swing. The views of both sides are constantly colliding. The words gradually became more intense. If it wasn't for not being able to see other people's faces, I'm afraid they would have staged a full martial arts by now. After all, it is the world of ninjas, big fists make sense. And at this time, the darkness in the picture descended quickly. It also attracted everyone's attention, our Sanagakure. But the time came to midnight, in someone's room. In an ordinary room, there was a person lying on the bed. Sudden. The man sat up abruptly from the bed. Through the moonlight, it is Third Kazekage. I saw Third Kazekage got up from the bed, then left the room silently, and came to the extremely quiet street. On the quiet and eerie street, the figure of Third Kazekage also became inexplicably gloomy. However, his behavior also made everyone in the live broadcast room feel a little strange. Naruto. What is this uncle doing? Why did he run into the street when he got up at night? Xiaoli. Could it be sleepwalking attack? Tiantian. The Third Kazekage is not you. You will become another person immediately after drinking some wine. Black soil. Come out in the middle of the night, it's weird, there's no one on the street. Killer bee. Some people are strange, right? It's midnight after all. Luo Shaw. What is the purpose of going out at this time? The people in the live broadcast room were very puzzled. I don't understand what is going on with Third Kazekage. I was not at home in the middle of the night to sleep well, and ran outside to spend the day. On screen. Third Kazekage continued walking, unknowingly came to the gate of the village, and walked straight out of the village. Master Kazekage, where are you going? The gatekeeper ninja looked at Third Kazekage in surprise, and by the way looked at the night above his head. Third Kazekage said calmly, go and check to see if there are ninjas in the enemy village. The gatekeeper ninja immediately showed a look of admiration. Then I won't bother you, please be safe, Kazekage-sama. Third Kazekage nodded and left the village without looking back. The gatekeeper ninja has been looking at the back of Third Kazekage with admiration. At this time, another gatekeeper ninja B who was resting came out rubbing his eyes. What happened? Gatekeeper ninja A turned his head and said with admiration. Master Kazekage is really hardworking, and I have to go out to inspect it in person at such a late hour. Gatekeeper Ninja B suddenly said in surprise. This time? It's a bit strange. Strange what? Ninja A lightly reprimanded. Can you and I guess what Kazekage-sama thinks? Ninja B waved his hand, yawned and said. Okay. since there's nothing else to do, I'll go back to sleep. After speaking, he went back to the house and continued to rest. Ninja A turned his head, and the figure of third Kazekage was no longer visible at this time. In the desert, third Kazecage's footsteps are not fast or slow, as if he is taking a walk. On the road, he also encountered some ninja squads on night patrol, but he prevaricated them with the same reason. No one noticed the abnormality of third Kazekage, and they all looked at the dedicated third Kazekage with admiration. Keep going. Third Kazekage came to a no man's land and finally stopped. Subsequently, third Kazekage held out his hand, and an iron chain flew out of the sand and flew to his subordinate. He pulled hard, and a deep and dark secret passage suddenly appeared on the ground. After the passage entrance was fixed, third Kazekage walked into the dark secret passage. After he entered, the secret door was slowly closed. This scene made the people in the live broadcast room extremely curious. Konkuro. Why is there a secret passage here? Did it exist before? Third Kazekage. I don't know. Hidan. Don't you even know yourself? This is really strange. Onoki. What is third Kazekage doing here in the middle of the night? Fourth Rakage. There must be a dark secret. Everyone is guessing. As the third Kazekage continues to advance in the picture, the sun-smeared light also appears in front of it. When third Kazekage came to the exit, the scene he saw immediately gave everyone in the live broadcast room a layer of goosebumps. I saw a wide space at the end of the secret passage. Although it is wide, it is full of densely packed puppets. And Ake himself is among them, and behind Ake is an operating table. Seeing this, everyone in the live broadcast room couldn't help guessing again. Tamari. Sure enough, Lord Third Kazekage doesn't know, it must be related to Ake. Orochimaru. There are so many puppets, the number has exceeded 200 last time. Jiraiya. This means that Ake's strength has improved a lot. Tsunade. I seem to see a lot of familiar figures, it seems that most of them are Konoha ninjas? Cedar Yagura. Kirigakure also has a lot of ninjas. Onoki. There are also rock shinobi ninjas, how many ninja corpses did he collect? Chio. It seems that third Kazekage and Ake have reached some kind of agreement, so why did they reprimand you so thickly before? Tamari. Could it be that third Kazekage came to Ake to discuss countermeasures because of Chio's advisor? Naruto. Why does it always feel like Ake has become a bad guy? Namikaze Minato. Naruto, it's not so easy to distinguish good guys from bad guys, some just have different positions. Under the gaze of the audience in the live broadcast room, third Kazekage in the picture walked straight towards Ake. Then he passed Ake and lay on the operating table. When third Kazekage lay down, he closed his eyes, and the back of his head opened automatically. And Ake took the tool and walked over calmly to do the minor debugging work. While debugging, he also said, "It seems that there is a glitch, is it because of being too emotional? The blinking function has failed, and it seems that there is still room for improvement. Don't worry, each of you will become the most perfect doll, just like when you were alive. But you are more beautiful now than when you were alive." There was an intoxicated smile on Ake's face. And the puppets around him also showed the same smiles as him. Seeing this scene, everyone in the live broadcast room had goosebumps. The entire live broadcast room fell into a few seconds of silence. Then, the entire live broadcast room exploded. Chio. Third Kazekage has been made into a puppet? When exactly? Deidara. As expected of Master Ake, as soon as he made a move, he shocked the audience. Uchiha Madara. HMPH. I just said that my brother must be extraordinary, just third Kazekage, it's just a piece of cake. Sarutobi Hiruzen. The majestic shadow of a village is so easily made into a puppet, but no one can find out, it's really chilling. Little Sakura. It's too scary, Ino. When I saw those puppets laughing together, I was completely dumbfounded. Naruto. Wow, it feels like watching a horror movie. Orochimaru. Scorpion, don't you always boast that your art is the most perfect? Why don't you speak? Scorpion. Orochimaru, if you want to die, just say so, I will kill you right now. Kakuzu. It seems that someone is in a hurry. Hidan. Ha ha ha, hurry up. Danzo. Such a terrifying power, I am afraid that no one can grasp it in his hands. In this case, only the roots that are handed over to me can completely control Ake. Fourth Rakage. Are you thinking of farting? Onoki. It's too shameless to make your intentions so obvious. Uchiha Itachi. If such a terrifying power really exists, no one in the ninja world will be able to stop him, right? Jiraiya. The key lies in the concealment of these dolls. Even Chakra's veins are very similar. I'm afraid Hyuga's white eyes can't tell the difference. Tsunade. Even third Kazekage has been made into a puppet. Does that mean that there are more people made into puppets, which have not been shown in the screen? Konkuro. As this. Thinking carefully, Senju Hashirama. I just said that this kind of behavior will only cause mutual suspicion among people, and it will only intensify the war at that time, and there will be no peace at all. Uchiha Madara. Humph. You short-sighted guy, haven't you thought about the situation where everyone is made into a puppet? Pain. If all people are made into puppets who want nothing, peace will come naturally. Conan. But is that really peace? Are we who are made into puppets still ourselves? Everyone fell into silence. Can peace achieved by sacrificing all people really be called peace? They all have answers in their hearts, but I also want to see the world that Ake wants to shape. Anyway, it's just what's in the video. The real world doesn't really turn out like this, does it? Only. They subconsciously avoided a very real problem. If Ake really exists in their world, and Ake has the ability to change everyone into puppets. So what should they do? They dare not face the problem. Because, there is no solution. The screen in the video turns. It was dark and raining heavily. 3 teenagers and girls hid in a cave to avoid the rain. These 3 people were the founders of Shao organization when they were young. Yahiko, Nagato and Conan. Looking at the continuous rain, Yahiko said helplessly. When will it rain? Nagato said with a slightly cold face. You know Nagato, there are always a lot of weather like this in the land of rain. It's like war, it's always going to happen. When it comes to war, the faces of the 3 are a little gloomy. They are all orphans of the war. They lost their relatives and parents because of the war and became orphans. If it was not lucky to meet Jiraiya, the 3 of them would have died when they were very young. Yahiko said with a sigh. I don't know when the war will end. Gululu, an untimely sound came from his stomach, which caught the eyes of Nagato and Conan. Yahiko blushed. I'm a little hungry, but in this weather, I don't know where to find food. Nagato smiled and said. I'll go find something to eat, you 2 stay here, I'll be back soon. Etc. Yahiko held out his hand, but Nagato had already run into the rain. Really, I am obviously the eldest brother, how can I ask my younger brother to find food for me? Yahiko said dissatisfied, but her eyes were full of warmth. Conan smiled and said. You will always be my big brother and Nagato. Yahiko suddenly felt goose bumps all over his body. Hey, why do you say such things suddenly? It makes people feel uncomfortable. As he spoke, he rubbed his arms. Conan was still smiling, because she and Nagato really thought so. Nagato, who ran into the rain curtain, ran into a person not long after running out. A child. Huh? Are you lost? Where are your parents? Nagato walked over, unguarded. Because the other party is just a 4 or 5-year-old child. In the land of rain, there are countless children of this age, and most of them are war orphans. A few are people who fled with their parents. Although Nagato asked about the other party's parents, but seeing the other party standing here alone, he knew that the other party's parents must be gone. However, the child was clearly not what he had imagined. It was obviously raining heavily, but there was no expression on his face. This kid is none other than Ake. Looking at Nagato approaching, he finally spoke. Do you want real peace? A perfect world where there will never be hunger, and there will never be strife. Nagato was taken aback for a moment, then sighed and said. Of course I would, but such a thing is impossible. Wherever there are people, there will be fights because of people's desires. Nagato followed Yahiko, knowing that Yahiko's dream is to restore peace to the land of rain and even the entire ninja world. He is willing to do it for Yahiko, but deep down in his heart, he feels that this is completely impossible. This is just an ideal. Ake said lightly. What if I say there is a way to do it? Nagato frowned and said. Impossible. Ake turned around directly, then turned to him and said. Whether it's possible or not, you'll know if you come over and have a look. With that said, he left without looking back. Nagato hesitated, but finally followed. It's just a child, even if it's a trap, it's okay to escape with my ability. 11. So, Nagato followed. As soon as the screen changed, it came to Yahiko and Konan, who were sheltering from the rain. Yahiko frowned and looked outside. The rain continued, with no intention of stopping at all. Why is Nagato so slow? Is there an accident? Konan was also a little worried. Shall we go out and look for it? No, I'm back. When Nagato's voice came, the worried faces of Yahiko and Konan disappeared suddenly, and turned into a look of joy. Li Jiao. Now that Nagato is back, and the voice is the same as usual, there is even a hint of joy. This is enough to show that Nagato must have brought back good news. Right now, the good news means many things to their hungry stomachs. Nagato. Why are you so slow? Yahiko complained and stepped forward, but her face was full of smiles. However, when he saw Nagato with empty hands, the smile on his face froze. Konan also felt a little strange. Nagato, didn't you go out to find food? Nagato shook his head, a widening smile on his face. I didn't find anything to eat, but I found a way not to eat. When the two heard it, they were extremely excited. If they find a way not to go hungry, they can save more war orphans like them. Yahiko stepped forward excitedly and grabbed Nagato's shoulder. What is the way? Have you found a fruit forest? Quick. Take me there. However, Nagato shook his head, and the smile on his face gradually became weird. It's not, it's Chang. Swish. Nagato's chest snapped open, revealing the puppet's body. As long as you become a puppet, you don't have to worry about being hungry anymore. Ah. Yahiko backed away screaming in horror. Konan also covered his mouth and widened his eyes. The scene in front of them really shocked the two of them. A partner who was apparently fine just now, turned into a puppet after going out for a trip. Is this a nightmare? Who the hell are you? You are not Nagato. Speak. Where did you get Nagato? Yahiko yelled in panic. Konan backed away again and again. The scene in front of her really made her unable to accept. Nagato's face is still bright to the point of a crazy smile. He opened his chest and took 2 steps forward. Of course I am me, don't you know me? Yahiko roared loudly. The Nagato I know is not a monster like you. Konan covered his mouth in disbelief, tears rolled in his eyes.
Why? What the hell happened to you, Nagato?
Nagato had a crazy grin on his face. What's wrong with me? I found a way to not go hungry and just wanted to share it with my best friends. Come on, join us. Yahiko protected Konan, looking at Nagato with grief in his eyes. Whatever you meet, Nagato. But stay away. Otherwise I will really shoot. The smile on Nagato's face was still bright. Really? Are you really going to shoot me? Nagato stepped towards the two of them. Yahiko and Konan kept falling back. Until they come to the bottom of the cave, there is no way back. The entrance of the cave is Nagato, and this cave is just a small cave. There is no other entrance and exit at all. If Yahiko and Konan want to leave, they can only break through the puppet Nagato from the front. But, looking at Nagato's wide-open chest and the extremely sharp-bladed ribs, they knew it was impossible. Even though Nagato's appearance has changed drastically, even though Yahiko knows that Nagato's state can no longer be called a human being. But the friendship over the years made Yahiko not want to take action against his best friend even in the face of Nagato in such a state. Don't push me, Nagato. Yahiko roared loudly, with despair in his eyes. Nagato said softly, how could I force you? I'm just inviting you to join the doctrine of eternal life. Let us work together to make this world a better world where there are no more wars. Isn't this what we've always wanted? Yahiko's eyes became complicated. Konan cried even more. Nagato. The original you are not like this. Change back to the original you. A puzzled smile appeared on Nagato's face. Of course I'm still me, Konan, don't you recognize me? Come. Join us, be one of us, to make this world a better place.
Boom. Ah. With a roar, Yahiko finally threw a punch and knocked Nagato to the ground.
Nagato, who fell on the ground, was not talking, and because of Yahiko's excessive force, his face became a little dislocated. The entire facial features were distorted, looking extremely hideous and terrifying. When Yahiko saw it, his heart tightened. But after seeing Nagato lying on the ground without making a sound, he breathed a sigh of relief. Konan looked at Nagato's weird and distorted face in horror, feeling extremely sad in his heart. Nagato has become like this, what should we do? Konan looked up at Yahiko. The flustered look in her eyes showed that she had completely lost her backbone at this time. Yahiko scowled, trying not to look so messed up. Although what happened to Nagato made him extremely painful, leaving this weird place is the most important thing now. Let's get out of here quickly. Nagato's body is getting too weird now. I doubt he will wake up in a while. Yahiko grabbed Konan's hand, wanting to take her helpless out of here. But as soon as they reached the entrance of the cave, they heard rustling sounds from around them. At this time, the rain that had been continuous just now had stopped, and the subtle sound was like the sound of human footsteps, but it was much lighter. But the sound came from all directions, which suddenly made Yahiko's heart tighten. Suddenly, Yahiko's ears moved, as if he heard something. He listened carefully, and after a few seconds, he finally heard some clear voices. Golems don't die. Golems don't cause wars. Golems don't fight each other. Golems are perfect things. Come join us. As the sound got closer, Konan also saw countless figures approaching them. Just like Nagato, they open their chests, revealing the empty interior, and ribs that are as sharp as blades. Like Nagato, they also turned into monsters. Well, Konan covered his mouth, stifling the scream that was about to escape. There was only endless horror and despair in his eyes. Yahiko's eyes were terrified, his teeth were clenched, but his body kept shaking slightly. This strange scene, which he had never seen before, plunged him into despair. These monsters have surrounded them, not giving them the slightest chance to escape. And at this time, footsteps came from behind the two of them. But behind them, there is only a cave. Yahiko turned her head in horror, and saw Nagato, whose facial features were still distorted, coming over. The mouth tilted to the other side of the cheek was still sending out a sincere and terrifying invitation in Nagato's tone. Come join us. Let's join the path of eternal life. Let us bring eternal peace to this world. Ah! Yahiko finally couldn't take it anymore and let out a terrified scream. He watched countless puppets surround him, he punched and kicked so frantically that he even forgot to use ninjutsu. But in the end, he was still overwhelmed by endless puppets. Looking at the horrifying Nagato in which Yahiko and Konan were drowned by puppets in the picture, the live broadcast room was silent for 2 seconds. Those who watched the live broadcast shivered in unison. His eyes were full of horror. If this is the case for them? Naruto. This is the scariest horror movie ever. Chio. I'm afraid the puppets are completely out of control. No one can stop Ache anymore. Onoki. It's really terrifying. The puppet army that has no pain, can't die, and can recover even after being destroyed is really a terrifying team. Deidara. No one can stop Master Ache from conquering the ninja world. Hidan. Kill. Kill everyone. Ha 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 ha. Kakuzu. If everyone is made into puppets, then there will be no reward orders. That would be a really bad world. Konan. You really got into money, Jidu. Tiantian. If I were to encounter such a situation, I'm afraid I would faint on the spot, right? Ino. I hope I can faint in Ache's arms by then. Little Sakura. Ino pig. Don't be wishful thinking. The one who fell into Ache's arms can only be me. Shikamaru. Women are really troublesome. Nara Luju, as expected of my son. Yamanaka Hayi. Brother Luju, you are not afraid of sister-in-law. Uchiha Madara. Go. Ache. Complete your ideal world. Senju Hashirama. Madara, this Ache is different from the previous Ache. The screen changed. Time came to daylight. The sun shone bright to scorching on the streets of Sanagakure. A person passed by in a hurry. He quickly arrived at the Fengying building. Boom. Chio pushed Kazecage's office unceremoniously, and said immediately after seeing third Kazekage. Now the number of puppets is increasing. The quantity and quality of these puppets are more than enough to deal with other ninja villages. But Ache has absolutely no intention of stopping. We have to stop him. However, third Kazekage just said with a frown. Didn't you hear what I said earlier? If you make similar remarks again, I will treat you as a traitor. Chio's eyes were extremely persistent. Do whatever you want. For the future of Sanagakure. For the future of mankind, I must stop Ache. Wait. Third Kazekage stood up and came to Chio. Puppetization has become the current sugar tendency. A lot of people want to get Ache out and turn them all into puppets. Chio widened her eyes. How is that possible? Are they all crazy? Third Kazekage shook his head and said. How long has it been since you paid attention to the people in the village? After they saw that after becoming puppets, they could still move freely as usual, they were all tempted. A puppet that won't starve and never die represents eternal life. As he spoke, third Kazekage became more and more excited, and his voice gradually became louder. Ake's ideal is to turn everyone in this world into puppets, create a perfect world without war. And I am very supportive of his ideals. Chio looked at third Kazekage in disbelief. She backed away slowly, unable to understand what third Kazekage was thinking at the moment. After calming down a bit, third Kazekage blinked and said, "So, don't worry about this matter anymore, Chio. It's not something you can stop, and it's not something you should be doing. Ake is your grandson after all. Do you really want to stop your grandson's ideal?" Chio shook his head and said, "Things are too serious. If no one takes action, the world will be completely destroyed." After speaking, Chio turned and left. She didn't see the indifferent eyes of third Kazekage. "Chio, you have to do it yourself, to destroy relatives righteously." But just as she walked out of the Fengying building, a dozen ninjas suddenly attacked from the dark. Hidden weapons, puppets and ninjutsu flew from everywhere. But Chio is a very strong puppet master after all. With extremely quick movements, he escaped this wave of sneak attack with ease. At the same time, she took out the scroll and summoned 10 special puppets. Nearly 10 people, with superb puppet manipulation skills. She alone suppressed a dozen ninjas who were sneaking up. The surrounding people hid on both sides of the reception one after another, with terrified expressions on their faces. At this time, a ninja was stabbed to the heart, but continued to fight as if nothing happened. This immediately alerted Chio. "You are not human. Could it be that you are also puppets?" Chio didn't expect that these sneak-attacking ninjas were also puppets. It can be imagined that it was made by Ake, and it seems to be acceptable. However, this strengthened Chio's idea of stopping Ake. Because, these puppets are all from Sanagakure. And it's not the one who died in battle and sent to Ake to be made into a puppet. Chio has the impression that these people are all Sanagakure elite ninjas. "Ake, I will never let you continue." Chio gritted her teeth and continued to control the puppet to suppress the enemy. Sudden. With a puff, Ri Shengdai's eyes widened. When she looked down, she saw a head piercing through her abdomen. Although no blood was shed, the damage also severely reduced her ability to move. "Who is it?" Chio looked back with difficulty, but saw a face that shocked her so much. Third Kazekage stood behind Chio with a blank face. Retract the turning head that penetrated Chio. After a while of combination changes, the turning head changed into the shape of a hand again. Chio staggered and knelt on the ground, and the puppets of Chimatsu's 10 people who had no time to distract them all stopped in place, and then they were destroyed by the attacking ninjas. But she didn't care. Chio just looked back at third Kazekage with a bleak smile. What time exactly? Could it be from the very beginning? Chio seemed to understand something. At the beginning, she was still wondering why third Kazekage didn't drive Ake, who made the human puppet, out of the village. Perhaps since then, third Kazekage has become Ake's puppet. Her eyes showed surprise. At this time, the people who were still hiding in horror just now surrounded them one after another. The 3 circles inside and the 3 circles outside are all people. But what made Chio feel puzzled, even frightened, was the incomparably cold eyes that the crowd looked at her. Subsequently, under Chio's gradually becoming desperate eyes, the chests of these people opened one after another, revealing the empty interior inside. "We are all Ake's puppets." Now, Toshiro was completely desperate. "It turns out that everything is already over? I didn't notice at all that everyone around me has been made into puppets. As a puppet master, I am really dereliction of duty." Chio had a wry smile of despair on his face. "Fortunately, I thought I could stop Ake, but I was thinking too much. In this world, no one can stop you, K." As she spoke, she turned her head and looked to the other side. Over there, her little grandson Ake came slowly. Ake looked at Chio with cold eyes. In other words, Ake looked at anyone very coldly. Only when looking at the puppet, Ake's eyes will have warmth. "My heart aches, Grandma." When he said this, Ake's face was extremely indifferent. "As a puppet master, I thought you would understand my ideal. I didn't expect that you were going to betray me." Chio coughed twice, then said, "I know the death of your parents has hit you hard. However, this does not mean that you have to put all your emotions on the puppets. No matter how much you make them alive, they're dead after all. Hurry up and wake up. Ache. Ache looked at Chio coldly. Then a sarcastic smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The death of my parents? My parents have always been by my side. Chio's son and daughter-in-law appeared right behind Ache. The two of them looked at Chio with very cold eyes. Ache continued. The living parents will die, but the parents who become puppets will live forever and stay by my side forever. Living people always cause all kinds of trouble, but puppets don't. Puppets are the most beautiful things in this world. Humans will only destroy everything. So, I want to create a perfect world where there are no living people, only puppets. Chio stared at Ache firmly. You're crazy. Ache ignored it, but continued to explain his ideals. There will be no disputes, no pretense, no other unnecessary thoughts. That would be a perfect world. Then, he lowered his head, revealing a. So, come and join this perfect world. As soon as Ache finished speaking, all the puppets took a step forward in unison. Chio knew that he had no other choice. His eyes gradually changed from despair to calm. This world is over. Chio let out a final exclamation, and no longer had the idea of resisting. I do not know how long it has been. In Ache's secret base. Ache admired Chio with her eyes closed on the operating table. Grandma, you look very good, you are much more energetic than when you were alive. Chio slowly opened her eyes, a smirk pulled out from the corner of her mouth. Yeah? Ache nodded in satisfaction. Everyone in the studio fell silent. Although I expected Ache's thoughts, I didn't expect Ache to have turned the entire Sanagakure into puppets. Konkuro. It's scary. Fortunately, I was not born in that hopeless world, huh? Did I just disappear in the world in the video? Luo Sha. That's right, I'm not married at this time, how did you come out? Little Sakura. Chio is too pitiful, everyone around her has become puppets, and she is the only one left who doesn't know anything. Ino. And Chio himself was turned into a puppet by his grandson. Kakashi. Chio's smile after turning into a puppet seems to still have the consciousness of Chio's life, full of irony. Orochimaru. Sanagakure has been destroyed, which country will be next? Uchiha Madara. That's right. Brother Ache's conquest will definitely not stop here. Deidara. Master Ache. Go. Hidan. Wait, these people have all become puppets, will it become a world without living people? Then how can I kill people? Kakuzu. Wake up, you haven't been born at this time, even if you were born, you are just a little kid, there is no room for you to grow up. Scorpion. A world completely controlled by puppets. What a crazy idea. Dried persimmon ghost shark. Ha ha ha, I never thought you, the puppet master, would say that, are you really scared? Senju Hashirama. I believe, Ache will wake up in the end. He was so bright and upright before, I firmly believe that there must be light in his heart. Senju Tobarama. Wake up, brother, stop dreaming. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hashirama-sama. This Ache is obviously different from the previous Ache, and his thoughts will definitely be different. Danzo. If Ache this time had the same idea as Ache in the previous comparison video, at the very beginning, he wouldn't have such a dangerous idea. Seeing what Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo said at the end of the live broadcast, Ache couldn't help but rolled his eyes. He can say with certainty that the Ache in these videos is all him. Although the means are different, the ultimate goal is the same. That is peace. Although, the idea of making puppets of all living people is indeed creepy. But Ache thought about it carefully and thought that he might really do those things. The power you have is different, and your thoughts will change slightly. Next, I'm afraid the pace will speed up. Ache looks at himself in the video. He's obviously not that old yet, but he can't hide that evil temperament at all. Ache is looking forward to whether he can walk this path this time. Or was it stopped at the last minute? The video screen turns. Came to the land of water. A large number of mist shinobi ninjas are on patrol, on high alert. Things about Sanagakure quickly spread throughout the ninja world. Now all ninja villages are in danger, guarding against the puppet army that may appear at any time. Mist Shinobi's Ninja 7 gathered in a tent, either sitting or standing. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost carried Samahata, frowning. Is the Sanagakure thing real? Are they all made into puppets? Woolly Jinba called out arrogantly. Aren't they just a bunch of trash puppets? Watch me blow them all up. Lee Sage Kushimaru let out a sneer, and showed off the long knife and sewing needle in Shu's hand, which was like a long needle. I'll sew all those puppets together. Loquat Shizang said indifferently. Don't be careless. The enemy is able to turn everyone in one of the 5 great ninja villages into puppets. The strength must be extraordinary. Hei Leia's eyes were a little preoccupied. Are those puppets made by dead people? Dead people should lie in coffins. I'll give them a grand funeral. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost scratched its head. With such a group of problem children, as the leader of the Ninja 7, he only felt a headache. Forget it. It's useless to say these things now. I don't know if there is any news about the alliance between Mizukage-sama and other ninja villages. Tsukasa Yebeto, who had been silent all this time, shook his head and said. There is no news yet. Loquat Shizang said lightly. What are you worried about? There is still a fire kingdom between the kingdom of wind and the kingdom of water. Even if those puppet armies want to come, they cannot go straight to the kingdom of water. When others heard it, they found that it was indeed so reliable. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost secretly heaved a sigh of relief. But Mirashi Jinhachi and Kuri Sarakushimaru were dissatisfied. Will those puppets be killed by Konoha's people by then? Damn it. Why don't we sneak attack Konoha? Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost rolled his eyes, ignoring these 2 idiots. At this time, a ninja said outside. Master Puffer Ghost, there is a situation outside. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost thumped in his heart. What happened at this time? What's the situation? The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost hurriedly asked, and opened the tent by the way. Says a mist shinobi wearing an Anbu mask. There is movement from the sea surface, it is not enough to be sure. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost is really flustered now. Come over from the sea? The army of ghost puppets really came to us? All the people in the tent rushed out and came to the shore to carefully watch the sea outside the thick fog. Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost squinted his eyes and looked into the distance. Sudden. In the dense fog, he saw the shadow of Shadow. Only 1 or 2 can be seen at first. But as these shadows approached gradually, Ziguashan and Tonkatsu discovered in horror that the shadows seemed endless. He took 2 steps back in horror. Others also noticed the situation on the sea. Ha ha ha, it's finally here. Mirashi Jinba laughed arrogantly. The surrounding mist shinobi ninjas were infected by him, and the panic in their hearts was also reduced a lot. Idiots can sometimes play a role. Is that the puppet army? The genius puppeteer of Sanagakure can control so many puppets. Loquat Tenzang looked extremely dignified. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost swallowed. There are still ninjas from the land of rain. Wait. Why are there so many people who are not ninjas? Does it mean that even civilians have been transformed into ninjas by him? Tsukasa Yebetu frowned at another group of people with Konoha forehead protectors. Those are the Konoha shinobi. The legendary Sanin is there, and there's a whole bunch of Konoha shinobi. How can such an army be defeated? The puppet army has already stepped out of the fog, and they are marching forward in unison on the water. Every row and every column is so neat and perfect. Even the most picky OCD sufferer will give a thumbs up when they see it. There are so many people, it seems that there will be a lot of events. The Black Ho Lei Ya slowly took out his Lei Dao Ya. Others also took out their weapons. The Watermelon Mountain Puffer Ghost's face was solemn, and he faintly wanted to retreat. There are really too many puppet troops, boundless as far as the eye can see. And they are still coming out of the dense fog continuously. But the fighting lunatics Mirashi Jinhachi and Kuri Satsumaru were overly excited. They were still talking to each other about who would kill more. They obviously forgot that these are just puppets, and they have already died once. The screen goes black and then lights up, appearing in the picture as Third Raikage with an extremely dignified expression. Is the news true? Third Raikage looks at a Cloud Shinobi ninja. The Cloud Shinobi ninja bowed his head and said, "The news is true, the country of water has been destroyed." A Cloud Shinobi Jonin said with a frown. To do such a thing in such a short period of time, that crazy puppeteer in Sanagakure is completely blown away. Lord Raikage, what should we do? Others in the room turned their attention to Third Raikage. Haven't you contacted that stinky old man Onoki? Third Raikage rubbed between his brows. At present, the opponent's puppet army cannot be fought by us alone. After all, that lunatic didn't even spare the civilians, and made them all into puppets. Swish. A Cloud Shinobi ninja appears instantly. Report. Enemy shadows appear 100 miles away from the village. Third Raikage glared. It's only 100 miles away. Where's the patrol member 100 miles away? The reporting cloud shinobi ninja bowed his head and said. They've all died in the line of duty. Third Raikage frowned, and a cloud shinobi Jonin said strangely. Since they are all dead, how did you come back? Because. The cloud shinobi ninja suddenly raised his head and rushed up quickly. The chest cavity opened suddenly, and all kinds of extremely sharp weapons emerged from it. I didn't escape at all. Boom. With an extremely ferocious punch, the cloud shinobi ninja who had been transformed into a puppet was directly smashed into countless pieces. Only then did the others realize it. It turned out to be a puppet. I didn't realize it at all. It's really scary. Wait. If this guy is a puppet, what information is he talking about? The figure of Third Raikage flashed suddenly and disappeared in place. When it appeared again, it was already at the gate of the village. In the distance, one could already see the marching figures of the endless puppet army. Really? Intelligence is false. The human puppet army is coming to the door. Yugura. Is my country of water gone? Hanzo of the salamander. Our country of rain is the first to disappear. Luo Sha. There is also my country of wind. Maybe my country of wind is the first to disappear, after all Ake is in the country of wind. Jiraiya. Do you compare all of these? Tsunade. This world is hopeless. Uchiha Madara. Everything is going as expected. Let me see the peaceful world you created, Brother Ake. Deidara. Master Ake Rush. Hidan. Master Ake, can you save a few people for me to sacrifice to Lord Evil God? Onoki. Judging from this situation, I am afraid that the Kingdom of Thunder will not be able to stop it. Third Raikage. Don't underestimate our cloud shinobi ninjas. It's more than enough to beat you rock shinobi ninjas. Akatsuki. But didn't you die at the hands of Mr. Tsuchikage? Darui. That's how despicable and shameless you are, to besiege Lord Third Generation with tens of thousands of ninjas. Danzo. Despicable and shameless. Yahiko. What qualifications do you have to say that? Conan. That's it. Uchiha Fugaku. You are the most despicable one. The screen is dedicated again. Came to the slightly desolate country of Earth. Onoki's face was extremely gloomy. Third Raikage's hard bone can't stop it? That puppet army is so tricky. Kitu stood behind him, his expression equally heavy. What should we do, Master Tsuchikage? Onoki's expression kept changing. Originally, I wanted to let the puppet army weaken the strength of Cloud Shinobi Village, but I didn't expect that even the Kingdom of Thunder has fallen. Now I can only contact those guys from Konoha. By the way, where did those puppets go? Any news? Kitu shook his head and said, the latest news has not come back yet. Boom. The door was violently knocked open, Huang Shi said out of breath. It's not good. The puppet army has appeared in the territory. What? Onoki was startled. He was about to fly to the window as he floated up. Puff. Onoki stared, lowered his head and looked at the huge fist piercing his body, his face full of disbelief. What are you doing, Lois? Are you crazy? Kitu's eyes widened, and he rushed forward to force Huang Tu back. But Huang Tu ignored Kai Tu's attack, and two extremely sharp knives appeared in his chest, cutting Kai Tu, who was caught off guard, in half. Afterwards, Huang Tu's stomach also opened and walked out from inside. It's you. The body was pierced through, and the body's functions continued to decline rapidly, Onoki said extremely weakly. Ake came to Onogi's side and said coldly, your technique is a bit tricky. If your dust dungeon destroys my perfect treasures, obviously the loss outweighs the gain. Let me make you my subject now. Third Raikage, ha ha ha, good death. Huang Tu. I was actually made into a puppet and attacked my father? Onoki. The insidious puppet technique is hard to guard against. Chio. Only Ake's puppet can be so fake that it doesn't even need transformation technique or disguise. Citrate Yagura. Now even the land of earth has fallen, and there is only the land of fire left. Orochimaru. If it is such a lifeless world, it would be really scary. Jiraiya. Is there anything you are afraid of too? The screen turns again. Came to the Konoha village Hokage building. In an office, 3 people are sitting and another person is walking around. How to do? It's just us now. If we can unite with other ninja villages earlier, we can still compete if we don't move. But now. It's all your fault, Zhang. Sarutobi Hiruzen walked up and down anxiously, talking non-stop. In the end, It pointed directly at Danzo. If you hadn't stopped me and said that you would take the opportunity to weaken the strength of other ninja villages, would we have come to this point? Danzo was also angry. You are Hokage, do you listen to me in everything? Am I Hokage? Sarutobi Hiruzen was taken aback. Obviously did not expect Danzo to give such an answer. Guo Ying didn't take the blame anymore. Mitokado Homura stood up and said. Stop arguing. What's the use of arguing anymore? Think about countermeasures. Udatane Kaharu leaned back with a bad look. What can we do? Not to mention that many of the elite in our village have already been made into puppets. Even in our heyday, we can defeat the current army of puppets. Don't forget, these puppets have the strength in life. What we have to face is not an army of mechanical puppets, but the siege of ninjas and civilians from the 4 countries. As soon as these words came out, the faces of the other 3 people suddenly darkened. That's right. They are already doomed to lose. There is no chance of winning. If we can find the puppet master of Sanagakure, maybe things will turn around in 3.5. Danzo thought of a way to break the game. However, Sarutobi Hiruzen rolled his eyes and said. Then do you know where he is? Danzo shook his head. The little hope that had arisen was instantly extinguished. At this time, an Anbu suddenly appeared. Report to Hokage, report to my lords, the puppet army has appeared at the gate. What? Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his body and was about to fall down. But Mitokado Homura quickly supported him. Hiruzen, you can't fall now, everyone is still counting on you. Sarutobi Hiruzen cursed inwardly, but stood up helplessly with Mito's support. Quick, take me there, etc. Danzo suddenly gave a cold drink. Why didn't you declare your identity? Anbu Ninja was taken aback. Immediately, he realized that he had been exposed, and rushed forward suddenly. Wind-style vacuum wave. Anbu Ninja's body was pierced immediately, but no blood spilled from the wound. Why don't other people understand? They all shot to destroy the Anbu Ninja who had turned into a puppet. Afterwards, the 4 of them left together and headed towards the gate. Before they got close to the gate, they heard a deafening sound. Surrender. Become a puppet. Surrender. Become a puppet. The sound waves formed by the voices of countless people shouting at the same time made it impossible for people to get close easily. As long as it is a little closer, the eardrum can't bear it. When the 4 of Sarutobi Hiruzen came to the gate, they saw an endless army of puppets lined up in front of them. The number cannot be estimated, it is too much. Ninja world, is it going to be destroyed? Sarutobi Hiruzen murmured, with a look of despair in his eyes. The same goes for the other 3. Not only them, but also the rest of Konoha. At this time, the camera kept zooming up, and then pulled the snow. All the people on the ground turned into a small black dot. At this time, the people in the live broadcast room saw that Konoha was completely surrounded by endless dots. And the diameter of the enclosure is already comparable to the diameter of Konoha village's land area. How many people are there? Naruto. So many people. People have become as small as ants. Deidara. Maybe not all the people in the ninja world are here? Little Sakura. Are there so many people in the whole ninja world? Hidan. If I sacrifice all these people to Lord Evil God, what kind of reward will I get? Deidara. Master Ache is too awesome, awesome. Onoki. Hey, I'm afraid Sarutobi Hiruzen has peed his pants by now, right? Third Raikage. It is very possible, just that wimp who likes to squat in the village, when has he seen such a battle? Yugura. Hokage who has been in power for the longest time, shouldn't be so unbearable, right? Orochimaru. You don't know this. When people get older, some behaviors are out of their control. Senju Hashirama. Nonsense. Monkeys don't behave like wild monkeys urinating in the street. Monkeys, don't you? Sarutobi Hiruzen. I was so sure before, but now I'm depressed now. You have to be firm. It's absolutely impossible for me to be scared enough to pee my pants. Danzo. Huh? I seem to smell urine. Senju Tobarama. Monkey, you actually. Oh. Ah. I'm going to kill you. In Hokage's office, Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes widened, and he threw himself on Danzo's neck. Danzo had difficulty breathing after being pinched, and said with difficulty. Indeed. Smell the smell. That can't be me either. Sarutobi Hiruzen roared. On the other side, Mitokado Homura's old face flushed, and he turned his head to look out the window, as if he had nothing to do with him. In short, in the live broadcast room, everyone was still guessing whether Sarutobi Hiruzen was scared to pee. The picture gradually becomes dark. It's different from the instant blackening before. This time the speed was much slower, which seemed to indicate something. Soon, the darkness of the picture gradually fades away. What appeared in front of everyone in the live broadcast room was a blue sky. The sky was clear and the sun was shining brightly. It is an excellent fine weather for walking. The streets of Konoha are bustling with people coming and going. People's voices filled every corner. "Boss, give me 2 caddies of apples." "Okay. This is your apple. Please keep it. A bowl of noodles, and a clove of garlic." "Come right away. Today I have to buy a big fish to celebrate my son's success with Bia." "Come and see. Freshly baked sweet potatoes, delicious and delicious." "Boss. Here's the 3rd one. Here's a bottle of beer." "I have to get this cake over there ASAP. Mom, I want ice cream." Okay. Mom will buy it for you. This weather is the best time to have a hot pot meal. I think you want to eat it. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The bustling streets are full of peace. But in the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room, the behavior of these people is so inexplicable. Deidara. What are they doing? Naruto. That uncle who sells fruit clearly has nothing on the stall. Little Sakura. There is nothing in the bowl of the noodle eater. Choji. They obviously don't have anything. Why do they seem to be eating happily? Shikamaru. Are they simulating? Black soil. That's strange. Why on earth would they do this? Everyone's hearts are full of doubts, but no one can give them an answer. And at this time, the screen shifted to a group of children. They were running, scrambling for the ball under their feet, having a great time. But their movements are extremely stiff and unnatural. It's as if the body doesn't obey their command. Not only the speed is very fast, but also the strength is not much. At this time, a child twisted his body into a strange shape, slipped under his feet and did not touch the ball, but fell himself. The children who were playing were stunned for a moment. After a few seconds, they all smiled again. Ha ha ha. It's just that this laughter is really incomparable. It doesn't sound like a human can make at all. Seeing this, someone in the live broadcast room finally responded. Uchiha Madara. Ha ha ha. Brother Ache has fulfilled his ideal, and now the whole ninja world is completely peaceful. Look at the smiles on their faces, look at the breath of peace. 1. Onoki. What? It has already been completed. Sure enough, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't rely on it, and was wiped out immediately. Orochimaru. Now the entire ninja world is under the control of Ache. Everyone has become puppets, and a lifeless world has emerged. 4th Raikage. It really makes people shudder. This world is really too weird. Naruto. This is not peace. It's all fake. Namikaze Minato. Naruto, you were right. All this is false. Uzumaki Kushina. In such a cruel world, it's hard to imagine what these people have experienced before, to become like this. Scorpion. Are all these puppets controlled by Ache alone? Chio. Impossible. Even if Ache is a genius, it is impossible to do this kind of thing. Deidara. In the hands of Master Ache, nothing is impossible. Hidan. That's right, nothing can defeat Master Ache. Uchiha Itachi. There is no need for such a world. Senju Hashirama. Alas, it seems to be full of life, but it is all dead. Tsunade. These puppets try their best to simulate the situation in life, even if they have nothing in their hands. Is it the world that Ache wants to see subconsciously? Jiraiya. Definitely. Otherwise why would these puppets do this? They must still be under the control of Ache. Sarutobi Hiruzen. Such a world is really scary. Danzo. In order to prevent such power from falling into the hands of those who want to, I think Ache must be controlled, such as my roots. Senju Tobirama. Danzo, stop talking, haven't you messed up enough? Hanzo of the Salamander. That's right, it's just a smelly fish in the gutter, don't just come out and wander around. Luo Sha. So aggressive. But I agree. Deidara. Agree +1. Hidan. +1 Kakuzu. +1 Conan. +10086. As soon as the screen turned, it shifted from the street scene to a huge and empty room. In the room, there is a long conference table, which looks like a place for important meetings. And Ache is sitting in the first seat, with his hands stacked under his nose. Wear it with a pair of reflective eyes for a classic look. He was deep in thought at the moment, not knowing what he was thinking. There was neither sadness nor joy on his face, as if his emotions had been lost from him. At this time, the door was opened, and Nishu walked over with a 10-faced dull face. Ache. Why aren't you outside? Everyone is waiting for you to announce the unification of the ninja world. Why don't you look very happy? There were some words of concern in his mouth, but there was no expression on Tsunade's face. Ache shook his head and said, "We're not unified yet. There was one more person who didn't join us." Tsunade tilted his head and asked blankly, "Who is it?" Ache paused, then spoke slowly. "My brother, Scorpion. He is my own brother, and the big family I have formed cannot live without him. It's time to take him home." The line of sight turned quickly. Came to a desolate place. In the sky is an extremely scorching sun, and when it shines on the ground, the air feels distorted. Scorpion's thin and small body walked wearily, the clothes on his body had become tattered, and even the function of covering his body was very reluctant. Scorpion's body was dirty, and it looked like it hadn't been washed for a long time. He staggered as he walked, his eyes blurred. Not far ahead is a small village. It is also one of his goals. Scorpion took out a water bottle and took a sip to cheer himself up. Then he quietly approached the village. When he took a closer look, his pupils suddenly constricted, and then he ran in another direction without moving his head. Following Shia's line of sight just now, he could see a villager digging the ground with what turned into a hoe. It also means that this villager is a puppet. A puppet controlled by his brother Ache. I definitely don't want to be like that. Scorpion's face was full of firmness and fear. He came to a village again. Scorpion quietly observed for a long time, but did not notice anything unusual. So Scorpion walked into the village. The villagers were very hospitable and didn't dislike Shia's dirty appearance at all, so they invited him to their home as a guest. But this enthusiasm scares the Scorpion. With his current state, no matter whether he is among the enthusiastic villagers, he can't show such unscrupulous enthusiasm in this village. So the Scorpion head will not escape again. Again and again. Scorpion looked for villages that hadn't turned into puppet villages. But again and again they left in disappointment and even despair. At the beginning, Xie couldn't tell the difference between a puppet and a living person, and even stepped into a puppet village. But when the Scorpion asked casually, "Fortunately, this place hasn't turned into a puppet village yet." As soon as he said a word of rejoicing, Xie felt the air around him suddenly change. All the puppets stopped all their movements instantly, looking at him with strange and terrifying eyes. Only then did Xie realize that these seemingly living people are all puppets. From here on, whenever he sees a village, Xie only dares to observe from a distance, but dare not step into the village. Until one day, Scorpion found a deserted village. Peaceful, quiet. Scorpion bravely walked into the village. "Finally, can you find a place to sleep without getting caught in the rain?" Scorpion said with a hint of joy. Scorpion has been observing this village for 3 or 4 days. Not the slightest sign of trouble. Scorpion kept looking left and right, looking for the best house, planning to live in it. But just when he came to the middle of the village, sudden, all the doors opened in unison. Puppets with expressionless faces appeared from the room, surrounding the Scorpions. Is this a trap? Scorpion's expression changed drastically, and then he fled crazily. The puppets looked at the direction in which the Scorpion was fleeing, and chased after it. In a panic, Xie ran into the deep mountains. Behind them are the puppets who are chasing after them. The Scorpion panicked and flustered. After night fell, he finally found a hidden cave and hid in it. In the cold night, the Scorpion didn't even dare to light a fire to keep warm. I am afraid that the light from the fire will attract those endless puppets. His thin body was shivering, partly from the cold and partly from fear. The small face was full of fear and despair. Tears flowed from Scorpion's eyes like money. It looked extremely miserable. Seeing Shia's miserable scene, everyone in the live broadcast room was extremely surprised. They have all seen Scorpion's puppet talent before, and they have also seen how he controls the puppet. It is completely different from what they see now. Didera. Do you still dare to call yourself an artist? Even afraid of what you think is a work of art? Hidan. I was scared to cry by the puppet. Is this still the Scorpion the first no? Kakuzu. Sad, because. Jiraiya. This is also normal. Anyone who encounters this kind of childhood will be like a Scorpion. Chio. Now, do you feel that you are pursuing the problem on the road? Come back soon, child. I will always wait for you to come back. Luo Sha. The premise is to go to jail first. After all, you assassinated third Kazekage. Third Kazekage. That's right. Luo Sha, if you don't tell me, I almost think it was Ake who killed me. Konkuro. It is true that Ake killed you in the video, Mr. Third Generation? Tamari. Shut up if you can't speak. Scorpion. I have always believed in the path I insist on, and what Ake shows is exactly the world I am pursuing. In Xiao's organization, the others looked at Xie in surprise. I saw the excited expression on Scorpion's face. This is an emotion they have never felt in a scorpion. The usual scorpion was hidden in Fei Luhu's body, looking lifeless. But now, it's as if they saw Deidara before. But Scorpion is slightly more reserved than Deidara. At least Scorpion didn't directly call Ake Master. After all, the current Scorpion is not the Scorpion that is just a child in the video. Scorpion is an adult who has lived for decades, and will not be prone to emotional fluctuations like children. But at this moment, looking at the puppet world shown by Ake, Scorpion's face is full of excitement. This is what he wants, eternal medical skills. The things in the picture are repeated constantly. Meet the golem, be found, run away, hide, then look for food, be found again, run away, hide. A continuous reciprocating cycle is formed. Before I knew it, several months had passed. The scorpion lacking nutrition became thinner and thinner, and its footsteps were also vain, staggering forward, as if it might fall down at any time. The body also becomes dirty and lacks care. I am afraid that the scorpion has no mind to take care of it. Sudden. The scorpion's feet softened and fell to the ground. He struggled several times, i.e. unsuccessfully, to stand up. He could only turn over with difficulty, lay on his back on the ground, gasped weakly, and looked at the sky. At this time, Scorpion heard footsteps. He subconsciously wanted to escape. But he was too weak, his hands and feet were already useless. A parasol blocked the glare of the sun, and let Xie see who was coming. You, lunatic. The whole world is over. It's all ruined by you. Scorpion stared at Ake firmly, speaking weakly but firmly. If it wasn't for Ake, he certainly wouldn't be where he is now. However, Ake just silently looked at Xie and his brother. Have you been to so many places, but haven't found their beauty? The disputes disappeared, and there was only happiness on people's faces. A world without war and death has appeared. Why do you resist? Scorpion was so weak that he couldn't speak, but turned his head to the side with great effort to object to Ake's statement. Ake squatted down and looked into Scorpion's eyes. All of this is the ultimate art, don't you think, brother? As he said that, Ake stretched out his other hand, which was not holding the parasol, towards Scorpion. This is not trying to pull the Scorpion up. Instead, show the Scorpio your own success. Under Xia's shocked gaze, Xie saw that Ake's arm was blooming like a petal. It was not only Xie who was shocked, but also the audience in the live broadcast room. Deidara. Has Master Ake turned into a puppet? Hidan. As expected of Master Ake, he is decisive in doing things. Little Sakura. Isn't this too scary? Don't you even let yourself go? Naruto. Then Ake can't eat ramen. Shikamaru. Hey, what kind of weird focus are you, Naruto? Choji. If you become a puppet and can't eat, that would be a pity. Ino. You know how to eat like a pig. Kakuzu. The building is crooked. What we discussed before was not about eating or not. Hoshigaki Kisame. That's right, everyone is surprised that Ake turned himself into a puppet. Where did you little ghosts come from? You took the topic away. Senju Hashirama. So, Ake has become like the other puppets? Senju Tobarama. Impossible. If Ake turns himself into a complete puppet, how can he control so many puppets? This is simply unrealistic. Chio. What second Hokage said is right. Ake certainly hasn't completely turned himself into a complete puppet, but most of the body transformation must have been completed. Scorpion. Ake is looking for the eternal way. Jiraiya. It's over, this guy seems to be deeply influenced by Ake. In the video, Xie watched in shock as Ake showed him a brand new self. You actually turned yourself into a puppet? You were crazy. The scorpion seemed to be returning to the light, and the unfavorable words just now became very fluent. But after saying these words, Xie gasped wildly. Obviously, the words just now took almost all of his energy. Ache looked at Scorpion calmly and said, I'm not crazy. What's crazy is this cruel world. I'm just fixing it. Scorpion slowly closed his eyes. He no longer tries to say anything, because he knew that he was powerless to change Ache's mind. All he can do is to welcome his end. The screen changed. Konoha's famous scenic spot, Hokage Rock. Two figures are standing on the head of first Hokage Senju Hashirama, overlooking the situation on the ground. In the village, everyone lives in harmony, full of laughter. All puppets have their own duties, work for work, and play for play. Everything is neat and organized. It seems that each of the tight gears is running according to the established track. Looking down at this scene, Ache said with some pride. Look. This is a world without disputes. A flawless world with only puppets. Scorpion nodded in agreement. Those who saw this scene included everyone in the live broadcast room. They have expressed their views. Little Sakura. Watching it again is still too weird and scary. I don't want to live in such a world. Ino. That's right. Ache, I don't know if you can hear. Jiao. Jiao. But don't become such a person. Danzo. So, the old man thought. Ache must be rooted by me. Didera. Just shut up. Is there a place for you, an old guy, to get involved? Onoki. Everyone else wants to make Ache a guest, but you, an overconfident guy, still want to control Ache? Who gave you the courage? Chio. Although the method is terrifying and weird, but I have to say that the ability to control the puppets that everyone in the world becomes at the same time is really shocking. Konkuro. The way to control the puppet without the chakra thread is also very strong. How did you do it? Scorpion. A perfect world full of eternal works of art. This is the world I want. Senju Hashirama. It seems that this person has completely fallen into it. Uchiha Madara. HMPH. Isn't this a matter of course? My brother Ache showed you such a perfect world. Senju Tobarama. How perfect is this? Ache is the only living person left in the entire ninja world. Even Ache can't even be considered a human being. Naruto. That's right. How can a world where you can't even eat anything be called a perfect world? Choji. That's right. Shikamaru. Alas, you two are hopeless. Just know how to eat. Hidan. Although Master Ache is very capable, I still have to say that this world is in utter ruin. Supplement. Kakuzu. I am afraid that money is unnecessary in this world, right? That is really a boring world. Jiraiya. Does this count as saving the world, or destroying the world? After all, there are no living people, except Ache. Luosha. Not even despair, only numbness. Tsunade. I think it's pretty good. It looks flawless on the surface, but it's full of absurdity and weirdness. No. Even the surface is full of absurdity. This is simply a work of art. 1. Orochimaru. I think it's good too. Just think about it, this whole world is fake except for Ache, but it still works like the real world. What a spectacle. Sarutobi Hiruzen. This. Too shocking. Yagura. Yes, this crazy world can no longer be described as good or bad, it can only be said that it was shocked. Hinata. Everyone is false, but they are organized. This is really like a work of art. Black Soil. Yes. This is much better than Scorpion's artwork. It's not at the same level at all. Tiantian. It seems that the whole world has become a painting. Calamus. It's too powerful. Senju Hashirama. Really awesome. Uchiha Madara. I only imagined this kind of world once. That's the world of unlimited reading. I didn't expect this kid-eye to complete 10 completely different worlds. Scorpion. This is the real puppet art. The people in the live broadcast room began to swipe their screens crazily. Many people rejoiced that their world did not take such an extreme path, but many people felt that such a crazy world, it can be called art. It can no longer be described as good or bad. Already, the whole world has become a work of art. And the time in the video is also leaping rapidly. On the street, the dolls are still sitting as usual. Those who buy vegetables, those who go shopping, and those who play football. There is no change from before, but the only constant is the puppet. Everything else has changed dramatically. Moss and vines have grown on the deserted streets. The clothes of the puppets also became tattered. Time has not left too many traces on the puppets, but there are still many indelible traces in the town. Didera. Good guy, how many years have passed? The house is covered in moss. Senju Hashirama. As the most famous botanist, it will take decades to let the moss grow to this extent. Senju Tobarama. Although I don't agree with your self-proclaimed botanist, big brother, this time should not be much different. Scorpion. People's behavior is still the same as usual. This is an eternal, perfect work of art. Chiyo. Is that true? Sanagakure. Chiyo frowned. The house was covered with moss, and the clothes on the puppet gradually became tattered. Can't leave any marks on Ake's golem. As a puppeteer, Chiyo does not believe that such a thing can happen. However, the scene in front of her was challenging her cognition. The screen is still going on. In a quiet and peaceful atmosphere, 3 uninvited guests appeared. The darkness that suddenly appeared was like a hole had been torn open in the space. 3 people walked out from the darkness, Zhou Li smashed into the air. All 3 of them have white eyes and strange hard horns on their heads. Seeing these 3 people, everyone in the live broadcast room was immediately happy. Didera. I almost forgot about these guys with white eyes. Hidan. Haha, I don't know what expressions these guys will show after they find out about the situation in this world. Konkuro. I really look forward to their reaction. Haitu. You laughed so hard. Now there is only the blackened Ake husband left in the world of ninja. I am afraid they will not be able to do any tricks when they come here. Little Sakura. But where did they come from? They always appear suddenly. When it landed on the ground, the look on his face was very indifferent. After all, in Momoshiki's view, the ninja world is just a low-level world, and he doesn't need to pay too much attention to it. But immediately they sensed something was wrong. After the 3 fell from the sky, the originally bustling street suddenly became quiet. It was as if the still button had been pressed. Everyone turned their heads in unison to look at the 3 people who were different from each other. The eyes are calm, but extremely strange. What happened? Dao Shi panicked. Jin Shi immediately stood in front of Dao Shi. Pu Shi also raised his hands vigilantly. Subsequently, everyone spoke in unison again. Find a living person. Know who is different. The ninja world does not need living people, only puppets are needed in the ninja world. Find living people and eliminate dissidents. The ninja world does not need living people, only puppets are needed in the ninja world. While talking, they also approached one after another. Deadly traps popped up all over his body. Get rid of these guys for me. Dao Shi panicked and ordered. Jin rushed out immediately. Huge body but incomparably dexterous. The figure appeared in front of a puppet in a flash. With a slap of the big hand, the puppet was directly shattered. When Dao Shi saw this scene, his complexion changed again, and he broke out in a cold sweat. Aren't they alive? Only then did he realize that the people surrounding them were not alive at all. But puppets. There are many puppets, but even if these puppets are not afraid of death, it is not the opinion of these 3 people. One by one, before they could touch the enemy, their bodies were smashed into pieces. And on Hokage Rock, Ake watched all this with a frown. Looking at the puppets that were smashed beyond repair, his eyes gradually became extremely cold. Those who destroy the peace of the ninja world must never be forgiven. Powerhouses from all over the ninja world came to Konoha village one after another. After the 3 smashed all the puppets that surrounded them, they found that they were trapped in the encirclement again. But it is different from the previous encirclement. The people who surrounded them this time are all the best in the ninja world, and they have undergone a special transformation by Ake. It is to prevent the emergence of various unknown situations. Obviously, the 3 people who suddenly appeared belonged to this unknown situation. HMPH. Is it still a puppet? It doesn't matter, they are all a group of ants. Dao Shi is very arrogant and doesn't take these masters seriously. But soon, he paid the price for his contempt. White light flashed. Dao Shi found that one of the horns on his head was broken. He turned his head in horror, and saw an ordinary-looking man slowly putting his knife back into its sheath. The puppet Hitaki turned around blankly, and then turned into a white light again. Shenluo Tianjung. Momoshiki hurriedly raised his hand, using the Rinnegan in his palm to resist the attack of Hitaki's puppet. But his opponent is not just the Hitaki puppet. All are their opponents in all directions. The white light was repelled, but then a thunderbolt struck from behind. Momoshiki is in the cooling-off period of Shenluo Tianjung, and he can only watch helplessly, but he cannot stop it. At this time, Jin appeared in a flash and was behind Taoshi. However, the moment this unremarkable thunderlight came into contact with Jin's, it immediately exerted a huge amount of energy. Even though it is daytime now, everyone's eyes have turned into a piece of white. When the white light dissipated, Jin's body was already charred and collapsed. And Lei Guang also showed his figure. It was the puppet of third Raikage. Damn, useless trash. Momoshi didn't care about Jin's defeat at all, instead he cursed angrily. At the same time, there was some panic in his eyes. The strength of the enemy is much stronger than he imagined. At this time, a ray of transparent light flashed, covering the figures of Dao Shi and Pu Shi. At the critical moment, the two quickly dodged to both sides, barely avoiding this extremely fast sneak attack. But where he fought just now, a square deep pit appeared. Momo looked up in fear, and saw the Ono wooden puppet flying in the air. HMPH. I did underestimate you, but don't underestimate me. Dao Shi yelled angrily, but his heart was pounding. Pu Shi swallowed his saliva, and he was also a panicked group. He quietly took 2 steps back, wanting to leave from here. A large amount of fog suddenly appeared, with a dry and hot breath. As soon as the mist touched his body, Dao Shi let out a scream. Ah! He suddenly lowered his head and looked at his arm, only to see that it was corroded and exposed bones. Seeing this, Pu Shi retreated frantically, away from the terrifying fog. Then, a black space suddenly appeared behind him. Pu Shi wants to escape. But, a golden light appeared and came to Pu Shi at an extremely fast speed. The speed was so fast that Pu Shi couldn't react at all. He was hit hard by a punch, and naturally he couldn't escape. The figure flying upside down was suddenly overtaken by a red figure. Urashiki saw an old man with red steam all over his body. That speed is several times faster than the golden figure. Shinra. Boom. Urashiki couldn't even release Shinra Tenseki to bounce the enemy away. Huge power fell on him with an unrivaled kick. Just for a moment, Pu Shi's body was shattered into pieces, and his whole body was directly shattered. Being able to smash the body of the incomparably tough Otsutsuki family shows how terrifying the old man's strength is. As for Dao Shi, he had already lost miserably, without a single inch of intact flesh and blood on his body. After the 3 intruders caused a certain amount of damage, they were easily wiped out by the strong ninjas who were driven over. The people in the live broadcast room were just looking forward to the reaction of these 3 people before they bought shares, but now they are only left with endless shock. Kakashi. Is father so fast? Hitaki Tsukumo. This speed is twice as fast as when I was at my peak. 4th Raikage. Daddy's speed and strength have also become stronger. He has obviously been turned into a puppet. Onoki. The old man's dust escape seems to be the same as before. 3rd Raikage. 3 times faster than when I was in the best state, and what happened to that extremely strong thunder? I don't know how to do this. Chiyo. Needless to say, the fixation has been modified by Aishin. Jiraiya. Is this my sage mode? Why don't I need the assistance of 2 seniors? And the power has become so much stronger? Might Guy. Father. Is that you? I didn't expect you to be so powerful. Woohoo. My youthful blood has been completely ignited. I want to run 500 laps around the village. Might die. What's going on? When I used the dead door before, my speed and strength weren't so fast. Senju Tobirama. 8 inner gates. Opening the gate of death means death, but if it is a puppet, it seems that there is no such concern. Naruto. Huh. Why is there no me? Shikamaru. Nonsense, we haven't even been born yet, how could there be us? Namikaze Minato. This kid is right, I'm afraid I'm just a kid when Ache turns everyone into puppets. Scorpion. To be able to use the puppet technique to further enhance the strength of the puppet before it was alive. How did you do it? Deidara. Ha ha ha, anything falls into the hands of Master Ache, there is nothing impossible. Hidan. Yes, Master Ache is invincible. Kakuzu. Now, those strange guys with white eyes should not come again. After all, there is no need to come here in this world. Pain. There are no living people, and what they want to do has no meaning. Uchiha Madara. Now, the ninja world has finally returned to peace. As expected of my friend, you did a good job. Senju Hashirama. Haven't woken up yet. Madara. Open your eyes and take a good look. This world is no longer a matter of peace or not. This is the kind of really scary. On screen, the turmoil of the fighting subsided quickly. Moreover, the three of them were also made into puppets by Ache, and they were further strengthened. Time passed again. It can be seen that the puppets are still sitting as usual, day after day. There was no slight change in tone or expression. But the surrounding environment is gradually changing. Another decade's passed. Konoha village no longer looks like a village. All the houses and buildings are covered with weeds. You can't see the house at all. The streets are no longer smooth and overgrown with weeds. Even so, the puppets remained unchanged. Only the clothes on them became more and more tattered as time passed. It's almost to the point of being naked. Moreover, some puppets have decayed. But everyone in the ninja world is still living this false life. Never changed. Time continued to speed up. The audience in the live broadcast room fell into silence as they watched the rapidly growing weeds and the puppets look the same as before. In this way, time kept passing. 1 year. 2 years. 10 years. 50 years. 100 years. The entire ninja world can no longer see that there was once a prosperous city. Green vegetation covers everything. The wind in the desert also blew everything away. The dolls are still the same, but they are also different. The signs of decay gradually became obvious, and the movements of the puppets gradually became stiff. Although they are still running according to everything they used to be. But, if it continues like this, one day, I don't know when. A puppet fell. Never stood up again. The other puppets ignored him and continued to operate as usual. Then the second, and the third. One after another, the puppets fell, and the parts were severely decayed and weathered, and they had completely lost their ability to move. In the beginning, it was the most common puppets. But gradually, this situation gradually invaded those puppets specially made by Ache. Time flew by again. Another 50 years have passed. A stiff puppet walks. Her appearance is extremely beautiful, but the traces of decay and weathering make her body dilapidated. After exhausting all her sharp tools, she came to a man sitting on a stone who was silent. I'm sorry. I can't, to accompany you. Finished. She closed her eyes and fell down heavily. Fell to the ground, his body was shattered. Only the head remained intact. Ache lowered his head, looked at the regretful smile on Tsunade puppet's mouth, and fell into the boundless silence. And around Ache, there are many fragmented puppets. They are puppets that have been specially made by Ache, but have not passed the test of time. And just like that, Ache sat there, waiting for his day to come. I don't know how many years have passed. When the puppets around Ache were all weathered and could not be distinguished. He finally, slowly closed his eyes. Is it over here? There was a trace of regret in Ache's voice, but even a genius like him cannot resist the erosion of time. Boom. He fell to the ground lightly, without any movement. The whole picture is also frozen at this moment. The second video ends here. In the live broadcast room, there was an endless silence. No one expected it. Things would end up like this. This is completely beyond their imagination. After a long silence, everyone broke out. Tsunade. I didn't expect it to end like this. And I was the one who survived to the end. Only slightly worse than Ache. Jiraiya. Hey, are you focusing on the wrong thing? This obviously exceeded my expectations. I thought this false peace would last forever. Chio. I thought that too at first, but after seeing the signs of those puppets becoming weathered again, I guessed that this situation would not last forever. Konkuro. No. Ache is so strong, why didn't he take care of those puppets? If you maintain them diligently, the puppets can last for a long, long time. Tamari. That's right. Ache controls all the puppets in the entire ninja world. This kind of thing must be a piece of cake for him. Why didn't he do it? Kakashi. Maybe he doesn't want to do that. Who can understand his thoughts? Little Sakura. This ending is really sad. After all, in the end, there is no one left. Ino. Woo woo woo, my daughter-in-law are crying. Haitu. I'm already crying. Woohoo, husband Ache, you died so badly. Wangtu. This. Onoki. Although it is a deformed world, it also has certain reference value. Orochimaru. At least, I don't like this kind of world. The most important thing for a person is the soul. Although Ache's puppet is done vividly, it lacks the most important soul. Jiraiya. How can you be better? If you compare it with you, believe it or not, Ache can definitely create a perfect world that you can't reach. Your path is wrong. Orochimaru. Pen. This ending is very good. I have spent more than 200 years in peace, and I am no longer disturbed by war. This is the world I have been longing for. Conan. But, if no one is alive, can that be called peace? Kakuzu. Ake's thinking this time is very extreme, and it is very different from before. Uchiha Madara. No. Ake has never changed. His idea has always been pursuing only one thing, which is to use the last possible way to create a peaceful world. 1. Senju Hashirama. Madara, it sounds like you're right when you say that. Although it feels like a villain at times, it's definitely moving in that direction. Senju Tobarama. Although some methods are very rough, if Ake can really achieve the strength in the previous comparison videos, it is not impossible to complete the move to unify the ninja world. Deidara. As expected of Master Ake, another world full of art has been created. I didn't expect Master Ake to complete this side art so perfectly besides the art of explosion. Scorpion. You want to die, don't you? Your art is a side project, and the art of me and Ake is the most perfect work. Hoshigaki Kisame. Forget it, compared to Ake, you are nothing now. Hidan. That's right. Your puppet looks like a puppet at first glance, unlike Ake's, you can't tell it at all. Scorpion. Third Kazekage. Although no one survived, but relying on Ake this time, Sanagakure made me complete the feat of conquering the world. This is something I never thought of. Third Raikage. Stop putting money on your face. What does Ake unify the ninja world have to do with you? It's just a garbage Kazekage who was made into a puppet. Terumi Mei. If Ake is regarded as an artist, this world is undoubtedly his most perfect work that cannot be surpassed, because the whole world has been made into a work of art. B. Little Sakura. It's a pity I wasn't born at the time, otherwise I would have seen what kind of puppet I would be made by Ake. I'm sure it would be the most beautiful one. Ino. Forget about your wide forehead, don't be ashamed of yourself. Haitu. The most beautiful one must be me. It's a pity that I was not born at that time either. Tsunade. Cough cough cough, little girls don't want to grab it anymore. Ake himself said to turn me into the most beautiful doll. Terumi Mei. Woo, envy, envy, hate. Danzo. I propose. Uchiha Fugaku. Shut up. Hanzo of the Salamander. Can this person be shut down? Yahiko. It's annoying to hear this person talking. Except for that black Zetsu. This person is the most disgusting person in the whole ninja world. Uchiha Shisui. That's right, I trusted them so much at the beginning, but they planned to ambush me. We are still ninjas from the same village. Senju Tobarama. Huh. What about this? Danzo, did you attack your fellow villagers? Sarutobi Hiruzen. This matter has nothing to do with me, it's all Danzo's own idea. I didn't even know he took Shisui's eyes. And, water is the blood of the mirror, Gong. Mitokado Homura. That's right, what Danzo did was really outrageous. Udatain Kaharu. If we knew, we would have taken action to stop him. Danzo. You, poof. Fourth Raikage. Ha ha ha. Look at these ugly guys, is this a blatant dumping? Yugura. I didn't expect that the senior management of Konoha village turned out to be such an ugly group of people. Orochimaru. There are many people in the village who died in vain, but there are their shadows, compared to Hitaki Sakumo.